Farm4Profit podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm4Profit podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm4Profit podcast.
Well, it's great to be back with some representatives from Sukup. We've got Randy here, the Material Handling Sales Director, and we're going to dive deep into the title just to make sure everybody is clear as to what he understands. But no, it's a pleasure to have you back on the podcast. Welcome back, Randy.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
What a beautiful day to have an interview to learn more about what's available, what's cutting edge and new for farmers this fall when it comes to grain handling. But material handling in the title means it's not just corn and soybeans that Sukup equipment handles, right?
That is true. We handle a lot of commodities. I mean, we've done things from frac sand to canola to sunflowers. So it depends on what the farmers and the people need out there.
We were out on the West Coast. What about pistachios?
Yep, we do some stuff with pistachios and almonds as well. So, nuts to sand to grain.
Corey, how did they do that? They did so many $1 million per rib or something like that. Pistachios are a little more high value.
Yeah, a lot more high value than especially corn, right?
Especially at today's prices.
Yeah.
So, Randy, if our listeners don't remember who you are, why don't you give a little bit of background as to who Randy is?
All right. I'm Material Handling Sales Director. So what that means is I kind of oversee all of our material handling products. So that's the drag conveyors, bucket elevators. We've got triple run conveyors, distributors, all of our structures, so the towers, catwalks, those types of things. So basically anything that handles grain and, some towers and structures there to support those products.
And you got a couple new things. Maybe did you have the distributor last time, or is there something new with that?
Yeah, so we've got a new dual flow distributor. It's a completely electronic controlled.
Corey, did you get that on your setup?
No.
It's dual inlet. So if you've got a wet leg and a dry leg, then you can dump into a dual inlet distributor and take that grain to basically anywhere you want to, even if you're going into the same bin with it at some point.
So you guys have one sitting right out here. It's a big piece of metal.
It is. It's pretty massive. We've got 3 different sizes, a 14-inch, a 16-inch, and an 18-inch.
Yeah, that would handle a lot of grain and provide a lot of options, too, because we've talked about the profitability that elevators have when they have the ability to blend. And Corey's already given a testament to what it's done for his farm, having the ability to blend as well.
So what problem does this solve for the guys that don't have it, and why do they need it?
So anytime you got 2 legs on a farm, it does make it a little easier to direct a grain where you want it. If you don't have it, it makes it kind of difficult. You either got to use a combination of multiple distributors or some 2-way valves or 3-way valves after that distributor. So the nice thing about this is you bring 2 legs down into it, so it ties both bucket elevators into one distributor.
So this isn't a new concept, though, correct? Like, this has been done for years.
Correct,
but
yeah.
This is your first.
Yes, this is our first to market with it. It has been out there for several years. We're just, obviously, as we're growing, we're finding these needs to become more and more, and this was an opportunity for us to grow and expand.
So in the past, you would have probably purchased that from a secondary source and then added that, because you needed that as part of your whole Sukup grain setup. Right,
you do. You need that. You need to have an option, and what we found is when we did purchase them, there were some pretty long and extensive lead times with them. We thought, hey, this is an opportunity where we can come to market with something, have something just as good or better than the competition, and cut down on those lead times that people are facing.
Is this something that's built right here in the U.S. in Iowa by Sheffield, or is it somewhere?
Well, it is actually built in a facility in the Ukraine.
Oh, okay.
We've partnered, got a manufacturing plant there, so we're letting them build them, bringing them over here, and then we're being able to market them here in the United States.
But I could see we're building them yourself or having your own team to build them wherever it's made. It still has quality control on it. It still has checks and balances and more timely.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So how long have you been with Sukup, Randy?
So I've been with Sukup Manufacturing for 24 years. So kind of started off in the engineering side, on the design side, went into sales and service, and now I kind of head up the whole product line of material handling.
So in your 24 years, is this something that you've seen happen over and over? They find a product that gets used on a frequent basis and want to add their touch and bring that quality of service to the customer?
Absolutely. What we try to do is find out what the needs are, what the problems are that farmers are facing, and then introduce a new innovative product to the market to solve all those problems.
So go ahead, Corey.
Now that before we go to the next thing and put this distributor away, that thing's way up in the air. right?
is.
And you're saying electronics, like it's electronically. Like me as a farmer, I'm like, oh boy, how do I service that? How does I make sure that doesn't? I mean, what does that look like?
Well, there's some gearboxes up there, with C-face electric motors on them, so they're pretty reliable. No different than what you got probably running your bucket elevators, to be honest. And then all the controls for it are actually, just wires running up the tower conduit. The controls would be on the ground, so it's basically you never have to get up there to do anything. It's touch.
And is that
touch-screen
something
control.
we can put into our touch screen that
Yeah,
runs the dryer
absolutely.
and all that?
Yep.
Very nice.
Yeah, integration's definitely leading in agriculture right now.
It is.
Yeah, it is. The one thing that I was jealous of, having sat at the booth for years with you, is the paddle sweep, because I've swept and cleaned and shoveled many a grain bins that I wish I had a paddle sweep in.
Yeah, that has been one of our fastest growing products. At every farm show I've been at, it's probably the most talked about thing there, especially if you get somebody that has a family member that's maybe had an accident, or maybe themselves have had an accident with a traditional sweep inside of a grain bin. Some guys come in and, they're hacking and they've been in dust so long that, it's just really starting to affect their lungs and their health. So when they see a product like this where it basically keeps them completely out of that grain bin and they don't have to get in there to do anything.
Corey, I've seen way more TikToks of people trying to solve this problem with
Yep.
robots, with shovels, with brooms, with everything. Sounds like you guys already got it figured out. It just needs to go viral on TikTok here. So
There you go. I think you guys can help us out with
You know what? I've never talked about my paddle sweep yet. Mainly because we just started using it. We just got to the bottom of the bin. We should have got to the bottom of the bin a long time ago, if we were good marketers. But we just got to the bottom of it. And let me tell you what, it is amazing. We had to adjust a few things just to get started, but it is like no kernels on the ground. I mean, a few. Like you could go sweep them up or blow them if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And Tanner alluded to our blending deal. It keeps up, and I mean, I'm going to tell you this right now. We only have one paddle sweep, and we have three other power sweeps. We actually didn't get back in and sweep behind the other power sweeps because we're just going to put a paddle sweep in.
I tell you what, I go to a lot of farm shows, and the best thing that I can do is stand there, talk to the paddle sweep, and I get a farmer that comes up that's got one, comes up, that's the best thing I've ever invested in.
Yeah.
You know what? That right there sells the product. I can step away, let him talk to the customers, because
Right.
they believe him.
Yeah.
They might not believe me, but they certainly believe
you're
him.
just a dirty, crooked salesman.
That's
all
right.
you are.
That's right.
Okay, for a fee, we won't have Corey do any more interviews. We'll just have him stand next to the paddle sweep and talk about his experience.
Well, and what I was trying to get to on the blending side, like normally if you're in the bin sweeping, you're in that bin. That's the bin you're pulling from. I can actually blend when we're down in the bottom and have multiple bins running because I know I don't have to sit there and babysit the thing.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah, it is. It's something, like I said, when I first mentioned it, I'm very jealous of, because no matter, it seems like if it's in January or it's in June, that's still a job that sucks.
It is, and nobody likes it. And I tell you what, the commercial market has, with the whole OSHA and zero entry laws that came into effect probably like 9 years ago, that really changed how we clean out grain bins.
But Corey's a testament. It's not just commercial use only. This is for a regular farm.
Correct. Yeah, this one is meant for the farms. It's not a commercial one. I mean, we've got a commercial one out there. You get some big bins. You're going to take more than just a little farm paddle sweep to do it. And we do have those large ones available as well. We just aren't displaying those here today.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But you don't have to have, the Sukup unload system. You can actually retrofit one in, correct?
You can, yeah. So we can go into, if you've got another brand of unload out there, we do make some retrofit kits that are available. You'll have to probably call in. Now, one thing be a little careful of is, I don't know how well some of those other brands are made, so we're not going to warranty if they got a gearbox
Their
problem or
side,
something.
yep.
That's on them, not us. So
I think we generally know that as farmers, if we're upfitting a planter that's 12 years old, that we better do our due diligence. Say, is the frame good? Are the hinge points good? Are the hydraulics good? All that kind of stuff.
exactly.
So
Now, just curiosity, the economy is kind of maybe in a downturn right now. It sounds like you guys are really busy still.
We are. I mean, there's still quite a bit of interest. I mean, down pricing usually for grain bin sales isn't a bad thing.
Let's hold our grain. We need to store more of it and wait for a better day, huh?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we got to have an uptick at some point, right? We're going to have to. But, the downtrend isn't necessarily a bad thing. There are, obviously people out there that still have a lot of last year's corn, so they're looking at grain bins and putting some more storage up for this year, so they've got somewhere to put that grain.
So what else are you excited to talk about at the show this year?
Oh, we've got a new triple run conveyor here. That's a new receiving, a low profile conveyor. We've had that out for 2-3 years. We've also got our full heat mix flow dryer on display here. So this is, I think, the second show we've had that at. So definitely stop by the booth and check that thing out. That's really an innovative product with the whole mix flow drying systems available. And then obviously all of our traditional grain handling, material handling products, all here on display, and all the bins too. I mean, we've got 3 different sizes here, hopper bins out here, centrifugal fans. We've got everything.
So dive deeper into that triple run conveyor, because that, to me, sounds like a misleading title. It doesn't move 3 different directions, right?
That's correct. So triple run conveyor, it's a conveying system that can be used in multiple different scenarios, right? So the 3 basic ones are a dual receiving system, a single receiving system, and then a reclaim system like underneath the grain bin where we can reclaim the grain, come out, and dump it right into a bucket elevator.
So if I could put it into my farmer's terms, like I see this and it's going to be my pit, right? Like
Correct.
I pull a semi up over and I can dump both hoppers at the same time that come into one. And now you got to have something that can take the grain away from that. Because
That's
that sounds
right.
like a lot.
It is. I mean, we can get up to, we got capacity ranges anything from 4,000 to 10,000 bushel an hour. You do need to have a bucket elevator sized appropriately, and the rest of the conveying systems down the line to take whatever capacity triple run you choose. We need to make sure the rest of that can keep up with it.
So I'm going to say double run now, which is like, I don't know, a lot of people will call them a grain pump or something like that. Can you take enough away with that?
Yeah, you can. You got a 12-inch double run. That's 10,000 bushel an hour. So as long as we're running that horizontal, that'll keep up with the fastest speed that our triple run's going to be able to put out. So that is an option. Otherwise, we got other drag conveyors, bucket elevators, things like that too that we can use to make sure we get rid of that grain.
That sounds like the common issue our listeners have, just like you, Corey. You get an upgraded combine, but then you have to size everything else after the combine to make sure that extra capacity is being utilized.
I was just going to ask you, Corey, not having grain bins at my house and not putting anything in there yet, how important is the time issue that it all matches?
When you start getting over acres and you got to get so many acres, so many bushels a day, time is what you it's what you need. You need to be able to turn trucks, turn wagons, whatever you're doing.
Okay.
You need to have it's a logistics problem, right? So you need to be able to get back to the farm and only be there for X amount of minutes. If you're there for 15 minutes, well, if you're pulling 4,000 bushel an hour out of your combine, kind of do the math there. All right, now I need more trucks, more labor, whatever. Or you could speed it up, and I'm only there for 3 minutes or 4 minutes.
That's right. And how far apart are your farms, right? So that's something else to keep in mind. If your trucks are traveling quite a distance, I mean, it's more that you want to get them turned around quicker.
So there was a lot of firsts on our farm last year. We it was our first. We went to a Class 8 combine, a John Deere S780 from a Class 7. Went to a 12-row head from an 8-row head. Got the brand new Sukup dryer, bin, all that kind of stuff. But what we didn't do, and we did plan to, we just ran out of money, was the receiving side of it.
Yep.
That is now our pinch point. So now we rent an extra trailer, try to get an extra guy, have a third truck, when normally we could have done it with 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you're at the right place. We've got a lot of stuff out here, Corey. We can
Still out of
hook
money.
you up with.
Still out of money.
Well, I'm putting you to work. Remember, you're going to go stand next to the paddle sweep, and you're going to work on commission there.
There we go.
So, Randy, for a guy that doesn't have grain bins but might eventually invest in them, there's lots of options. There's just like I sell farmland. There's lots of options to sell your farmland. I'm going to put you on the spot. Why Sukup?
Why Sukup? That's pretty easy. Okay, we're a family-owned company. Every product that leaves our facilities, it's got their name stamped right on the side of it. So we want to make sure we've got the most innovative and the most highest quality product on the market today. So you don't find that with some of our competitors, right? They're owned by, banks, investment firms. They're traded on the stock market every day. So I mean, when your name's on something, you want to make sure your product
You bet.
resembles your name very well.
That's right. So if our listeners want to inquire about products, how best do they look you guys up?
So the best thing to do is get on our website. It's www.sukup.com. We've got all of our literature, all of our brochures out there. Take a look. We've got we've got a dealer lookup there. You can go in, punch in your zip code, take you right to your nearest Sukup manufacturing dealer.
I love it. Thanks again for jumping on with us.
Hey, thanks guys. Really appreciate it.